Hello, hello. Welcome to week 3, episode 8. Um, so this week in August, we are going to be talking about what deserves my energy now. We have come to understand that trust is an action word, and now we're looking at energy as a living resource. It is our time, our attention, our money, the way we care, our belief systems. It's the participation to influence what grows through us. So, week 1 of August invited us to trust what we know, to believe in oneself. Week 2 asked what we finally say yes to ourselves, give ourselves the permission we have been waiting for. And now, week 3 carries that into discernment. Once we begin trusting ourselves, we begin to move forward and we naturally become aware of where our energy is going. And this is a really, really cool. So every yes carries weight behind it because every yes comes from within. It comes from our own essence. It comes from saying yes means choosing to participate in growth. And this is where the August overall theme comes into play, the courage to live what has changed. It's okay to know what we need to change. It's okay to understand all of that. But unless we have the courage to do something about it, we tend to remain stuck. So, with every yes carrying energy and weight with it, the question becomes, what are you willing to help grow? What are you willing to nurture? So, where we grow and where the tree offers perspective. So, the tree distributes resources according to the season. So, once we understand that we're growing and once we understand that we need to push outward, then we begin to fuel that part. If we need to grow our roots, we fuel that part. If we need sunlight, we turn our leaves upward. So, we begin to distribute according to the season. Sap will move through the trunk into the branches that are actively growing, and each branch can represent a direction, a relationship, an idea, a commitment, opportunity, or expression of ourselves. So, no two branches grow the same way, just like no two trees grow the same way. We fuel what is important to us and we begin to give ourselves that permission to say yes to ourselves. We actually begin fueling these different branches of our psyche, of our cosmos, of our body, of our energy around us, right? It's like friendships blossom based on where you invest your energy into, right? You don't invest into the friendships, they don't blossom. Okay, totally lost my train of thought. So participation reveals what we are prepared to nourish. So same thing, we're willing to blossom and grow from this. And where we choose to put that energy is the act of stewardship in ourselves. So choice becomes meaningful when our understanding, values, and priorities have recently changed. So even if something shifts within us or around us, what we've given ourselves permission for, to permission to do, to move forward, allows us to actively participate in what we value, what we understand, and how we want to grow forward. So, as we live more fully from where we are now, some branches will naturally become more important. And guess what? The ones that are no longer necessary fall off. Yeah, a tree sheds branches. It's an amazing feature that a tree has. If the branch is no longer useful to the overall growth of the tree will let it go. And that's what's being asked of us. So your energy becomes a part of what you repeatedly nourish. So, what are you nourishing? How are you nourishing it? Where are your priorities? This is a really great week to go through what matters to me now with everything that I've learned. So we navigate. What does the sky say? So week 3 for August is quite interesting because it's after the eclipse. So it's post-ecliptic. And of course, the eclipse we talk quite a bit about in sky signals. So please get into the sanctuary so that you don't miss out on the extreme detailing of the astrology weather that if you're interested in talking about it. So, Mars, because of Mars's move into Cancer, it talks about movement, action, motivation, and how we're using our energy. So, it's asking how are we using this emotional security, the way we belong, care, and our familiar responses, and what we tend to nurture? How is that responding to what's going on around us with these changes? And they're being asked to create a moment of discernment. So yes, we can care, but where are we choosing to put that care and investment? So before we're asked to direct our energy forward, we're being invited to become clearer about what's motivating the moment. So, what is important to you, and why is that moment right now so important? What is making this shift for you? Mercury and Saturn are having conversations this week. So, this helps gives us language, confidence, and structure to what we have been learning about ourselves. We're being asked to name what we know. We're opening our circuitry, but Saturn is also asking us to take that knowledge seriously and decide how we will build from it. So, what priorities, what tasks have you been working on that is time for you to take seriously? It's time to say, yes, I want these things for myself, so therefore I'm going to make these choices to create this. And so this particular conversation will help us to organize our thoughts, strengthen our decisions, and speak with greater authority about what matters to us. Because you matter as an individual, even in this great world. Your experiences, your story is so incredibly valuable. And this is allowing yourself that permission to be you, to live you, right? The courage to live what has changed. You're stripping away layers. It's time to bring that part of you up. So, Venus and Jupiter, this has been interesting because they have been passing the baton through their conversation with other planets, and now they speak directly with each other this week. It's a supportive alignment. So, when these two get together, it can be a bit shady, but it also can be really, really great. And it allows for abundance and for growth. It really asks us to check in with our values, right? With Venus asking us about what our values are, what our relationships are, receptivity, resources, and money. And Jupiter is expanding beliefs, confidence, perspective, and sense of possibility. So is overspending a chance during this week? Yes. Yes, it is. So be careful what you're spending on. Are you placing value on priorities, or are you doing what is expected of you by others? Because you see, if you are valuing your priorities and you expand upon those resources, you will gain more. If you are giving so your money or your abundance away because others expect it of you, there is a loss involved in that. It can give too much all at once. So watch the finances this week. So together, Jupiter and Venus are inviting us to consider what feels worthy of greater care and investment. And as we move forward, Venus will then have a conversation with Saturn. And this is sort of the month where Jupiter is passing the reins over to Venus. And this is really important. Again, like I mentioned last week, Venus has a retrograde cycle coming. So this gathering of knowledge is incredibly valuable right now. So we begin to trust ourselves. We say yes to ourselves. And we move forward, we may also discover that our relationship with money itself needs to evolve. And especially with Mercury, Uranus going on, how are you investing? How are you choosing to invest? Are you angry and blaming something outside of you? Or are you choosing to take what you have and sit with what's in front of you and work to build upon that new foundation? Money is one expression of energy. Time, attention, care, effort, and participation are all resources as well. Where are you investing your time? Where are you investing your resources? Where are you putting your care? What efforts are you lining out for yourself? And really huge this week is on the 22nd of August, the sun will be entering Virgo, and this guides the week awareness into practical care, thoughtful choices, and meaningful participation. So it's taking everything we've kind of, sort of absorbed in through the sun with Leo, and it's allowing us to move into the discernment of what are we going to do with all of this now. So the question moves from what do I want to bring to life and into what am I prepared to tend? So what do we want to take care of? Because Virgo is the final summer season. And in that final summer season is called the preparedness for fall. And fall and winter are the downtime. So Virgo is sort of counting the resources to make sure that we have enough to get through the next 2 seasons and into spring again. So where we live, so the body experience with all of this energy. So with the body and the way it always communicates how energy is received and directed, and especially the body is listening before our mind does. A lot of solar plexus energy in August with confidence, energy, choice, participation, and personal direction, and I am energy. When the sun enters Virgos, it shifts that solar plexus energy into discernment, digestion, what we receive, what we sort through, what we integrate, what we absorb, and makes use of what life offers us. So when we move from Leo into Virgo, we carry inspiration into application. So when you use the first couple of weeks that we talked about as application, and then we move through this week, because I do believe that the 22nd is later in the week, right? So we have time to take this inspiration, if you listen to this video earlier on, and then integrate it into ourselves. The body always helps us recognize where warmth, engagement, clarity, or grounded momentum. It's like, the body opens up when things work for us, and the body shrinks when it's not in our favor. And this is where we can take everything that we've absorbed and does it work for us, or is it something that restricts us? Does it work or does it not? Right? So, meaningful direction often asks for energy while creating a sense of connection to ourselves. So, all of this inspiration over the month of Leo, it was week 4 and 5 in July and week 1 and 2 in August. And this is allowing us to pull this energy in, the courage to live what has changed. This is now what is going to work for us and how are we going to move through this. Meaningful direction often asks for energy while also creating a sense of connection to ourselves. So, moving forward without losing who you are is valuable. So, the body explores the different possibilities, right? Open for acceptance, closed for not, right? This is what allows us to recognize the difference between an interesting possibility and a meaningful direction because the body knows before the mind does which way to go. Remember that trust helps us hear ourselves, courage helps us say yes, discernment helps us decide where that yes will live. Our energy becomes a form of participation in the life we are creating for ourselves. Time, attention, money, care, belief all contribute to what actually grows. And as our values evolve, our choices can evolve with them. So just because I made a choice yesterday does not mean it's the same decision I'll make today, because the 24 hours will change my experience and therefore will change the choices that I invest in. When we tend with awareness, we become a living branch of what has already changed within us. I love that. Your energy is a part of how you choose to what grows next. So what are you investing into? Where is that desire? Because what you put your time, attention, and money into is what you will receive more of. And yes, that means if you're worried about bills or stressed about your job or all those things, you were putting that time and attention into creating more. And this is why so many of us get stuck. And I have been there and done that. So remember that there's always a Substack article that accompanies this video, and of course the reflections and discussions in the sanctuary. And coming up in September, there's going to be a more detailed workshop that you can partake in so that we can pull apart this information and you have, how do I put it? You get the workshop and then you take these weekly videos and you grow with it. This is all your choice, whether you just listen to it, take the advice, move on, whether you disagree, whether you want to just watch the videos and keep going. It's all here for you. And I love that because I am consciously choosing to put my energy into this for you. So I want to thank you very much for listening. Remember to follow me on Substack, hit the subscribe and the little bell on YouTube as well to receive notifications. So I want to thank you very much and we'll see you next week.